Today, we're going to dive into a story. It's an old fable, but its lesson feels like it was written for our busy, modern lives. It's all about how to find a little quiet in a world that, never really stops talking.
So let me start by asking you a question. Does your mind feel constantly full? Like you've got about a dozen tabs open in your brain at all times, and you can't quite shut any of them down? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, then you're definitely in the right place.
And this brings us to the main character of our story. He's a 24-year-old guy named Marco, and Marco's mind, well, it was exactly that, a constant, totally exhausting storm of thoughts.
Now, the thing about Marco, and this is probably true for a lot of us, is that he was basically trapped by his own mind. He was just stuck in this cycle of restlessness that he couldn't seem to break out of, no matter what he did. And his mind was always being pulled in one of two directions. He was either stuck in the past, replaying sad moments and regrets, or he was jumping ahead into the future, completely filled with worry and anxiety. The one place he never was, right here in the present. And, living like that takes a huge toll. He could never really feel calm, he couldn't sleep well, he just felt uneasy and tired all the time. And maybe the saddest part of all, he'd forgotten how to just smile. It's pretty much the perfect picture of modern burnout, right?
But finally, Marco hits a breaking point. He starts hearing these stories about a wise old man, a former psychologist who actually left the busy city to live a quiet life up in the hills. And he decides, that's it, I have to find him.
And that one thought, well, it's a huge turning point. Marco stops just passively suffering inside his own head and starts actively looking for a way out. He takes that very first, hopeful step toward trying to find some peace. So, after a really long journey, Marco finally finds the wise man. But the old man doesn't give him some long lecture or a complicated theory. Nope. Instead, he gives Marco a really strange but very simple-sounding task.
The instructions couldn't be clearer. Take this glass of water, he says, filled right to the very top. Walk all the way to the edge of the village and come back. And here's the only rule. You can't spill a single drop. It sounds simple, but of course, there's a catch.
You see, the village was anything but peaceful. The road was narrow and crowded, you had people walking and running everywhere, shopkeepers yelling out to customers, dogs barking. It was total sensory overload. I mean, think of it like your phone buzzing, emails pinging, and deadlines screaming at you. It's basically the chaos of our everyday lives. And yet, somehow, Marco did it. He walked through all of that noise, all those distractions, by focusing on one and only one thing, that glass of water in his hands. His focus was just absolute. So Marco comes back, feeling pretty proud of himself. He hasn't spilled a drop. He thinks he's passed the test. But the real lesson, the big aha moment, is actually just about to happen. The wise man just smiles and asks him this really simple but totally unexpected question. He says, "That's good, but tell me, what did you see on your walk?" And this is the moment where everything just clicks. Marco is almost shocked by his own answer. He realizes he saw nothing. He heard nothing. Not the kids playing, not the dogs barking, none of it. His intense focus on the task right in front of him had completely filtered out all the noise around him. And that's the whole secret right there. The key to his peace wasn't about adding something new. It was about being completely absorbed in the now. See, when your mind is totally focused on the present moment, there's just no room left for old regrets or future worries. And this is the core lesson of the whole story. Peace isn't some destination you have to travel to or something you find outside yourself. It's a state of being that's already inside all of us, and we can access it anytime just by grounding ourselves right here, right now. Okay, so that's a nice story. But how do we actually use this? How do we take this amazing lesson and apply it to our own chaotic lives? Well, just look at the transformation in Marco. It's instant and it's total. He goes from being this restless, anxious young man with a storm in his head to someone who is peaceful and calm. He's completely changed, not because he learned some big secret, but because he discovered a power he had inside him all along. So the takeaway is actually beautiful in its simplicity. The instruction for a calmer mind isn't some complicated 10-step program. It's just one single command. Keep your mind in this moment. Whatever task is right in front of you, that's your glass of water. And that really brings us to the final question, the one for you to think about. What is your glass of water? What's that one thing in your day, maybe at work, maybe at home, that you can give your complete, undivided attention to? If you can find it and really focus on it, you might just find that peace you've been looking for.